Hello, everyone. Hello. Let's get this comment pinned in as always. Comment should be pinned. Hello, how is it going? Welcome to Astrology Saturday with your hosts with the most, Chad the Maverick. Appreciate you all for showing up. This is going to be a very interesting week. We just started off the week. Scorpio season has just begun. So let's say happy birthday to all the Scorpios in the chat, all the Scorpios that you know. Happy birthday to you all. Very excited for your season. We're leading up this whole week right now, going into the full moon in Taurus at the end of the week. So stay tuned because I'm going to be going through the astrology that leads up to that time frame, as well as showing you a couple of goodies that we have as far as the Scorpio season is concerned. So welcome everyone, welcome in. Let's see. This has been an interesting transition going into this new Scorpio season. We just left Libra season. Libra season being all about creating balance and harmony and tranquility with one another. Now we're going into Scorpio season, which is entering the depths of our souls, the depths of our emotions, getting really tapped in and in tune with the raw, real, true, authentic self. So that's going to be the biggest idea behind that going on. I see a Taurus in the chat. Your full moon is coming up this Saturday on Halloween, believe it or not. As a matter of fact, fun fact for those who don't know, this full moon coming up is actually going to be a blue moon, right? So the whole phrase that people say where it's like, oh, once in a blue moon, this is that blue moon. So the whole idea behind this, right? What happens with a blue moon, what's the reason why this is so interesting, is because generally speaking, there's never more than two full moons or one full moon in 1 month, right? Usually there's a one full moon per month. But the way that this is set up, right? The blue moon is on Halloween. So on the 31st, October 31st is the blue moon, is the full moon. There's no class for the full moon this week. So in this live stream, I'm going to be breaking down the information of that. However, upcoming for every next new moon, full moon, etc., we're going to be having a class held by me through House of Intuition, Zoom classes, $10 a piece, where we're going to be teaching you how to harness the energy of every new moon and every full moon coming up. So please be tuned to make sure that you're ready for that. Also have a class coming up personally this Monday as well with House of Intuition on the chakras through astrology. So I'll be teaching you how the astrology that you have actually works and resonates with your chakra system personally. So we'll be breaking that down then. Also check out our other practitioners as well. We have Patty, who teaches practical magic. We have Ryan, who teaches a bunch of magic as well. We also have Bree that does her crystal talks, I believe it's every Thursday. And we have the crystal auctions that we have where you can end up adopting a crystal, which is super dope. With House of Intuition crystals every Sunday. That's when they do their live stream. So just wanted to kind of give you that information. And before we break down the astrology, I do got something special for y'all that I want to show you. So once more, like I was saying, happy Scorpio season to all the Scorpios. And guess what we have for you Scorpios? This is the Scorpio happy birthday box. So for anyone who knows a Scorpio, has some love for a Scorpio, we have the Scorpio box right here. Pretty amazing. You might be wondering, Scorpio box, what's inside? Well, allow me to show you. So, so for the Scorpio box, right? First and foremost, we have what's the most important thing on most birthdays, which is the candle, obviously. So we have the happy birthday Scorpio candle right here. So for anyone who's looking to give a Scorpio a nice gift this season, happy birthday Scorpio candle. Love the candles at House of Intuition. Get to be filled with intentions and such as well. So I'll be leaving that back there. It's also glowing blue right now, which is pretty dope. So check that out. We also have inside of here, we have the sage with sunflower bundle as well, which is pretty amazing. With so most of the time when you burn sage, you have to burn something else as well in order to really bring that into the room. With this with the sunflowers here, you actually kind of get like an added boost with the sunflower energy as well. So kind of like you don't necessarily need anything else in the air because it's already doing it. It's already doing all the work. So this is the Sage and Sunflower bundle for you Scorpios. We also have, which is pretty dope in my opinion, the Black Onyx Cat which is amazing. The sunflowers are real, which is pretty amazing. But this is the black onyx cat. So this is going to be a great gift for your Scorpio friends as well. Scorpio family, Scorpio partners, whatever the case may be. We also have the playing card oracle deck, which is going to be an oracle deck based off of playing cards, being able to give you a little more insight and intuition on certain things. And we have the small card for the mantra card for Scorpio as well. Now, one last time, go into House of Intuition, order from houseofintuitionla.com. Was there a Libra box? There was a Libra box, and there's going to be a box for every zodiac sign onward as well. But I wanted to kind of show you and get y'all excited, especially for you Scorpios, that there is a Scorpio box for you all, right? So, so let's get into this week a little bit, right? So I mentioned beforehand, this is the astrology part. So this is what I mentioned beforehand, right? Scorpio season has just begun. Now, the reason why the Scorpio season is going to be as interesting as it's going to be is because this Scorpio season is coming in during a Mercury retrograde in Scorpio. So that's the first thing I want to point out about this. So if you haven't, I had a class on Mercury retrograde. I'm going to be holding a class for every major shift moving onward. So please be sure to look at the classes, and I'll also be covering them in the live streams as well. But make sure that you check those out for sure. My ascendant is also Aries. Hello. Anyway, so I'm breaking this down, right? We're going to be getting into the Scorpio, right? So for Scorpio season, there's a very strong inclination that we're really working through our emotional feelings, our emotional gunk, kind of getting away from the things that used to hinder us. There's a lot of healing involved with this Scorpio season. There's a lot of tapping into and understanding our darker natures, our darker side, so to speak, right? The whole idea, and I know a lot of people are very, love and light oriented, which is amazing. However, what this Scorpio season is kind of bringing in as well is like having people and trusting people to do the shadow work as well, the work that like is a little bit hard to do. You have to face these parts of yourself, these aspects of yourself that may not be like what you want to show everyone all of the time. But the whole idea behind this is by working through this and harnessing that energy, you can end up transmuting it. Because what Scorpio season is all about is transmutation, right? The principle of alchemy, in a sense, right? If anyone's familiar, it's just like transmuting something into that, right? It's turning whatever it is into gold. So the whole idea behind the Scorpio season is a big idea of transmuting all of these emotions, all of these feelings, all of the underlying subconscious matters that we have into something great, into something grand, right? There is a lot of rebirth as well that's coming through with Scorpio season. And the reason why this is so important is with this Mercury retrograde as well. What's happening is the Mercury retrograde, which especially coming tomorrow, but I'll explain that later on, is that it is shifting our minds almost back in a sense. And the reason why I'm shifting our minds back for a little bit is so we can take time out to review and analyze how far we have come in our emotional journey, in our spiritual journeys, in the journey of life in general. All of these themes are really coming through. All of these themes are really kicking in. And the reason why this is happening too is to lead us into the full moon in Taurus, which is going to be kind of like essentially giving you a reward in a sense for that hard work that you've done, for that transmuting. Healing is painful sometimes. As you said, transmuting feeling. And that's true. That is 100% true. And that's a lot of what the Scorpio archetype represents. And I'm going to be breaking down Scorpio obviously deeper as we go along into the season. But that's the whole thing behind it. It's like Scorpio season is about transmuting that pain into your personal power, right? When you're able to accept and embrace even your downsides and your faults, you come into a sense of power that most of the time people typically try to shun off. They're like, oh no, I'm not that way. Oh no, I'm not. No, like a lot of people, a lot of the times do not like to accept their faults. And the whole idea behind Scorpio season is when you accept your faults, realize your faults, and understand these are the things that you may need to work on. These are the things that you may need to touch upon. That's how this Mercury retrograde in this Scorpio season is going to be helping you enter a new phase, into a new life in a sense, right? It's a rebirth time. It's time to like get you closer to your spiritual self. We're in the second half of the zodiac. Where the first half of the zodiac seasons is very much about the physical world, is very much about being out there, very much about like conversation and communication with other people. The second half of the zodiac is always like getting you tapped into like your higher self in a lot of senses, getting tapped into like the higher parts of yourself, which started in Libra season, which is the bridge over. Now we're going into Scorpio, and Scorpio is all about the rebirth before we enter into Sag season. I'll be breaking those down deeper in other live streams as well as my classes, so please be sure to check out the classes as well. Before I break down a little bit more on the full moon, a little bit about me. My name's Chad. I'm here with HOI. I also run consultations as well on my website at chadthemaverick.com. So be sure to check that out. I do natal chart readings, different renditions of that. I also do destiny readings as well. So please be sure to check that out. I'll be leaving my afterwards on this post as well. So please be sure to do that out. So once more, someone said do a giveaway. Might think about it, but until then, this is going to be the Happy Birthday Scorpio candle for those who are looking for it, by the way. So, now let's get into the full moon a little bit, right? I'm going to be breaking down the week, but I want to touch on the most important things as far as that is concerned, right? As far as the chart readings are concerned, just message me or like just let me know and I'll be able to speak to you and let you know what I'm able to do for anyone who is looking as well. So it's chadthemaverick.com one more time. Also, once more, check out all the classes for our practitioners, and please get you this Happy Birthday Scorpio box, because Scorpio season, baby. Let's get it. So, going into the full moon in Taurus. So the full moon, which is on Halloween, we have a full moon on Halloween. Let's just stop there for a second. We have a full moon on Halloween. So this Halloween full moon is really about bridging in two elements. We're talking about Scorpio and we're talking about Taurus. Now, these two signs rule the idea of like possessions, things that you're able to hold, things that you're able to have and hold, right? So where Scorpio is the have and hold on a very deep emotional level and state, Taurus is the have and hold on a very physical standard, right? Taurus likes to hold like things, like they like the physicality. They rule fixed earth. They like things that they can practically see, practically hold, all of that type of things. Whereas Scorpio is like the emotional hold, like the we are connected type of hold. So with this Scorpio season, this Scorpio Mercury retrograde, and this full moon that's happening, right? So with all of these things combined, what's really happening is that we're releasing our hold on the things that no longer serve us to allow better transformation for ourselves into the upcoming times. So this is going to be a releasing on what doesn't actually support me emotionally. Or this is a releasing on, I had this thing and I've been holding it on for like 5 years, but maybe it's time to let it go. It's not necessarily like working with me as much anymore. It's not necessarily vibing with me as much anymore. This is the type of energy that's kind of coming in with that. But once again, this is a blue moon in this Halloween day. So a blue moon, a once in the blue moon on Halloween night. For everyone who is going out for Halloween or doing some type of Halloween festivity, please be safe. Please be careful. Just in general, period. We live in a wild but beautiful world. So with that being said, be sure to do that. But the whole idea behind this full moon that's really kicking off, it's also at 8 degrees. So it's going to be a full moon that's going to spark off the rebirth of people. That's the best way to kind of put it. It's going to be the full moon to really spark off this rebirth, this renewal, this resurrection, in a sense, of who we are, our deeper parts of ourselves, all of that. And the thing, too, with this full moon is going to be opposing Uranus in Taurus. So Uranus is the planet that's responsible for our creative genius. It's the planet that's also associated with, like, let's say the heavens, the celestial sky, all that out of this world type of thing, right? Uranus also creates lightning strike scenarios. I also akin Uranus to receiving epiphanies, right? Any epiphany that you probably had where it's like, I know what to do now, and you change the whole script, that's Uranus helping you out. That's Uranus working through and being like, pew! This is what you need to do next. So With this full moon opposite Uranus, right? We're really shifting ourselves into a whole new electric life, a whole new life where it's like we're able to essentially use the currents that are going on, use the vibes that are going on, the astrology, the diving deep, the diving into our personal feelings and thoughts and etc. as Mercury retrograde goes Scorpio. Now Mercury is going to be going into Libra. But the reason why this is a whole lead up is because all the themes behind this, since Mercury and Scorpio started, I believe a week and a half ago, is going to be working in this process. So that's what's really going to be going on. I'm going to be explaining more of the full moon, but allow me to go through a little bit of this week, right? On the important transits that are popping up. I'm not going to be covering the days where it's just like a moon cycle, but I want to show you what's going to be lasting or what's going to be happening as far as this week is concerned. So let's start off first with today. It is today, isn't it? No better time than the present. So for today, right, we have Venus in Virgo making its trine over to Saturn in Capricorn. So Venus in Virgo has all been about finding new ways to practically show love, finding new ways to practically be in a state of that, finding new practical ways to make money as well. All of these themes are coming through with this Venus in Virgo. With Saturn in Capricorn, right, now direct, Saturn in Capricorn is about trying to help us crystallize the things that we are serious about. So the whole idea behind this is that Saturn is essentially helping us work with it to bring in better practical things into our life, better practical feelings into our life. We literally released a movie this Scorpio season to produce healing transformation. Dope. And that's the whole thing. Like, it's a healing transformation time. And I think with Venus and Virgo too, Venus and Virgo is about finding the flaws, finding the faults, and being able to like tap into that. And Saturn is going to be crystallizing the adjustments that you make. You get what I'm saying? So that's kind of what's going on today. It's like, what adjustments are you going to be able to make in concerns of love, money, and even business? Like, how are you going to be approaching these things? How do you want to put your best foot forward towards these things? And how are we going to be crystallizing that idea and pushing us forward into our next best future? So that's what's going to be pretty much going on as far as today is concerned. But this Venus and Virgo making this trine over to Saturn and Capricorn. Now, tomorrow, Sunday, right? So Sunday is a very, very important day. And I mentioned this in my Mercury in retrograde class that we had. So anyone who showed up to the Mercury in retrograde class, first of all, thank you so much. And also, you already know the scoop. But I'm going to give a little bit for y'all to understand just on this live stream as well, right? So what the sun is going to be doing, the sun is going to conjunct Mercury. Every Mercury retrograde, there's a time frame where the sun and Mercury meet up. The sun and Mercury are homies. Like, they are like compadres. Like, they're super cool with one another, right? So the whole idea with this the sun and Mercury, right? Mercury's going retrograde. The sun is going to meet up with Mercury again. So think of it like this. Mercury went out, he had a big old adventure, right? The sun was chilling. The sun does what it does. It just shines, chills, whatever. Illuminates our life, whatever, regular stuff. This is a regular day for the sun. But what Mercury does is that Mercury kind of goes up to the sun, is like, hey, yo, son, you want to know what happened when I went over there? Like, yo, I went back that way. I went back home. I went back to this spot. I heard about this. Yo, I'm going to let you know what's going on. So Mercury kind of comes back to the sun and then tells the sun what's been going on. And what has Mercury been doing? Pretty much making people address these deeper parts, these deeper aspects, and these deeper feelings, the depths of their feelings, right? So Mercury's kind of like going to the sun being like, hey, so I've been going through the collective. I've been seeing how people been feeling. So like, I'm gonna let you know how the people been feeling. So now the sun and Mercury are kind of like working together to be like, okay, this is how they're feeling. This is how they're doing it. Now let's illuminate these things so people can get into their next best path, their next best future. So now the sun and Mercury on Sunday are going to be really showing and tapping into like, hey, this is how the people feel. This is what the people have been going through. Now, how are we going to illuminate this in order for things to be working in the next best light? And that's pretty much what's going on as far as that is concerned. There may be it's a very critical day in the Mercury in retrograde astrology. So for anyone that went to the class, because I really broke that down. This is also an indication that if you want to know about the new moons, full moons, retrogrades, etc., I'm going to be running classes on all of them Mondays and Wednesdays. We'll be getting into that later on. 6 p.m. PST, only $10, and I'll break down the astrology so you know what's going on. Whether you're deep into astrology or not, I'll break down the astrology in a way where you can understand what's happening as far as these are concerned. We'll also be doing, like I said, the new moon and full moons. I'll be teaching you all during those sessions how to best harness those energies for you and your particular zodiac sign as well to best manifest during that full moon. I'll be breaking down all of that, what house it's in, what element, all of that. So be sure to check out those classes as well. We'll be keeping them updated on that, and they're all through Zoom, so there's no worry about any of that crazy stuff. So it's gonna be all good. It's a big hat. Can't wait to see you there. So so that's going to be Sunday, right? So that effect on Sunday is going to be rolling into Monday as well. So that's like that Sunday and Monday space is all kind of going to be working out, right? So now let's get into Tuesday, right? Because Sunday and Monday are going to basically be about the sun and Mercury catching up with one another. Like, yeah, they've been going through that, right? So now we're going into Tuesday. So Tuesday, we have Mercury making its opposition to Lilith. So Lilith is basically how I like to define it, the principal raw version of the divine feminine. And so with this Mercury making this opposition, what we're learning to do, and especially for that, we're learning to communicate better to our feminine natures, but our true feminine natures. How do we receive? I think that's really what's going on. Like, how do we receive information? How do we communicate the information that we receive to other people in that process? How do we end up taking in all that information and making something new, making something different, making something beautiful with the information that we get? Lilith being in Taurus, where Lilith has been in Aries, Lilith in Aries has been wrecking house. Lilith is like, I'm tired of all the crap. But now Lilith is like kind of chill. She got her main like points across, the main words across. Now it's about, okay, like let's take it back a little bit. Let's step it back a notch. Let's get some nice crackers, some wine and cheese, whatever. Let's chill back for a bit. That's kind of what's happening as far as like Lilith is concerned. But we're just learning how to communicate better through this energy, the things that we need and the things that we desire. So this Mercury opposition to Lilith is going to be happening like that. So that's going to be happening on Tuesday, right? Moving on, Wednesday. So on Wednesday, right before the full moon, which is very important, right before the full moon, we have Mercury leaving Scorpio, right? So as the Mercury goes to the sun, like I was talking about, like, hey, here's what's happening, right? What the sun's kind of telling Mercury to do, they're like, okay, so you give him a little taste. Like, you gave him a little taste of like how it feels to go deep inside. Now what we're going to do, now you got to go through, right? Now you got to go through and reteach people how to relate to other people. So Mercury's going back into Libra. And with Mercury going back into Libra, once more, about the balance, the harmony. So even some of the themes that have been coming through Libra season are going to resurface in order for you to re-edit them, re-access them, in order for you to make sure that your partnerships, relationships, etc. are on par, on exactly where they need to be at, because it's going to go back into the depths again. So Mercury is kind of like, gave you a little taste of, here's the depths of what things are going into, and now it's taking it back to like, but you should probably build a little more harmony, a little more tranquility. How are you going to build a better peace for yourself in that process? And that's really what's happening with that, and as far as that is concerned, right? So that's going to be happening on Wednesday. Sorry. So as you can see, the Mercury retrograde affects everybody. Gives me a couple of seconds. Usually I'm just like that. Whatever. It happens to everyone. So we're going into now, once more, when I said Mercury's leaving Scorpio and going back into Libra, guess what's going into Libra now? Venus. So now Venus is shifting into Libra. So Mercury is going back into Libra at like 29 degrees for those who know astrology. But then at the same time it goes back into Libra, Venus is going into Libra at 0 degrees. So Venus going into Libra. So our minds are going back into like, how are we addressing relationship and partnerships and business relationships in general? But then our hearts and our Venus and our love and all of that is concerned is bridging back into, so how are we going to really like work on these partnerships, work on these businesses, work on all of that? So it's like our minds and our hearts are like kind of, I'm trying to put in like, it's like they're starting to line up in a sense, right? In a sense where it's like harmony, tranquility, balance, and peace. These are the themes that are coming through with Mercury, our minds, and Venus, our hearts, making this in between. It's going to be like our minds and hearts working together now to kind of figure that out. So when it goes back into Scorpio, and when Venus goes into Scorpio later on at the start of Sagittarius season, now we're like really in the depths, but we're comfortable in the depths, and we have found peace with our depths, with our even like our personal darknesses, our personal shadows. We found peace with those things. And by finding peace with those things and integrating those things in the transformation and transmutation of Scorpio season, is how we're really going to be pushing forward. So I really wanted to break that down just so you could see how those work, right? So now, this is the vibe that's going to be working on and happening up leading into the full moon coming up next Saturday. So once more for the full moon. So let's talk about the full moon in Taurus one more time. So the full moon in Taurus is really about, so before I break it down the full moon, this whole entire week is leading up into the themes that the full moon is going to be pushing up. What do we have to release in ourselves that no longer serves us as far as our emotions are concerned? What forms of nostalgia are we tied to that aren't actually building and bridging us a better reality? It's almost like, and the big thing with Mercury retrogrades in Scorpio, a lot of people can get into a nostalgia trip, right? Like, oh, this, that, and the third. And I saw something earlier. I posted it on my story. It was great too. What was the quote? It was like, nostalgia is basically, this nostalgia is a mask for like things that aren't happening anymore, but we just like essentially praise the nostalgia in comparison to like what's actually going on in our day-to-day lives. So that's kind of what it's addressing. It's like releasing that tie to just pure nostalgia in order for us to get into new things that we can build in real life in real time, taking those themes that have happened in the nostalgia, taking what's good from it, leaving behind what doesn't work from it, and then bridging in what's new, bridging in what we can create. And the thing with Uranus being here as well is the things that we can create are going to happen like that. But you have to trust into the full moon and trust into that energy as well in order for that to happen. Now, once more, because this is a once in the blue moon, I had to say it at some point. We're not having a class, unfortunately, on the full moon and Taurus one, but moving on forward, for every new moon and full moon, I am running a class breaking down the energies and how those energies work for you, how you can best manifest with those energies, and how you can best utilize those energies. In my classes, those are going to mostly be on Mondays with a few ones in variables, but I'll be breaking those down every time I come live to explain that, right? And yes, it is Scorpio season. It's time to tap into the depths of yourself, tap into the depths of your heart and the truths of your heart to really make all of these beautiful things that are upcoming happen. So, one more time, I also have a class as well coming up this Monday. Now, this is a class that's good for like anyone who like knows the chakra system in general or like wants to know how to access their chakras. But I'm going to be breaking it down through astrology, so it kind of like teach that. All live classes. Yes, all the classes are going to be live on Zoom, 6 p.m. PST from me. 6 p.m. PST on Mondays, and then coming into this November, I'm going to also be having classes on Wednesdays teaching core lessons in astrology for those who may not know what the sun and moon does, for those who may not know what Mercury, Venus, and Mars does. So I'll be breaking that down. So any advice for Capricorns? I'm going to give advice for everyone just because it's the last minute and I want to just be sure to give advice. My advice for everyone is to trust in yourself, trust in your transitions into your power, and trust into the truth your heart is telling you, right? Trust into the truth your heart is telling you. Trust into the truth that your higher self is trying to bridge into you as well, because the transformation that's going to ensue is going to bring you into a new state of personal power and personal prowess, where you're able to achieve literally anything you want to create. So that's going to be it for me for this week. I appreciate you once more. This is also going to be on the page as well for House of Intuition. It's going to be there. So outside of that, thank you all for showing up. Much love to you all. And until next week, have a great one. Peace.